Going to do one little last Postscript video, and that's on formatting itself. This is web-based formatting, so it tries to emulate things like Microsoft Word, but for those of you that want to just have a little bit more on that, I just want to kind of go through some of the key features, and then you can look at some of our resources. So either way, whether I'm creating a new note, or editing a note, or replying to a note, and in this case I will just edit, I can highlight my text and format with bold, italic, whatever it is I'm doing. I can choose a different font if I want to. I can also choose a different size. I can choose some colors. So all of these are features. I can bullet some of the lists. I can basically align. Those are things that you're probably quite familiar with. So typically, we don't necessarily need to do a lot of formatting here, but sometimes we want to do some key things, and quite often it is bold, italic, and perhaps a little bit of color to make things stand out, unless you really want to get wacky, and that's kind of fun too. But make it readable for all your other community members so that it reads well, and try and apply some of those principles. Now, the other thing is you can integrate a YouTube. So if you went to a YouTube site and got the URL, wherever your cursor is, you can basically now in this box paste the URL here with this size, and it will, once you, wherever the cursor is, and you put it in here and save, it will actually play. Now in the last launch that we've had a little bit of a problem with that, but it's generally worked really well. So just in case you're looking at it in the next day, and it's just right now the end of June, I'm sure we're going to have that fixed within a very short period of time. But theoretically, you can just bring a YouTube and it will play in. Great resource to bring in. The other thing that we spoke about is uploading files and that kind of thing. So if we bring a picture in, if it's really big, we want to optimize it ahead of time usually. But if we haven't and it's not too big and you want to make it a little bit smaller wherever we're dragging it, we can click on that and go to our image box in the formatting, and we can give it a size that's perhaps a little bit smaller. Let's say we'll go 150, and we're just going to keep it locked that it's proportional. Once you do this, it's always going to ask for an alternative text, which is an accessibility thing. So if you actually just try to go OK, it'll say give us the alternative text, which makes it web accessible. And at this point, you know, you might want to go Martin Luther King or whatever the case you may, and you go OK, and it'll allow you to put it in there. So that allows you to resize your text. If you want to put a URL in here, other than copying and pasting that we've said from our websites, you can actually copy and paste put your cursor where you want it and use the link button. So assuming we've already copied and pasted the URL, we would just paste it in here and link to a file, and automatically it links here in this environment. This also allows us to set up the environment, especially for instructors or administrators, also in a very pretty way, because it becomes and acts like a web page, which when we're discussing we may not need as much, but I can highlight a word or a part of a sentence or a full sentence and then link to a file or link to another note through this manner as well, or to a URL. So in which case it's not the URL that shows up, but it is actually this linked text when we save it. One last thing. If you're interested in formatting and that kind of thing, on our EC website, under Services and Web Publishing, we're using a very similar system, and we have help files here. And there's some formatting starter guide in here, and we're really using the same content editor box in there, so you can take a look at that and download some of those documents. We also have some documents on optimizing images and videos very quickly on your computer with the programs that come with your Mac or PC, and do some quick stuff if it's come off and you're not really sure. And at the bottom there's some formatting guides also in video around text editing and whatnot. So those are all things that you can use. Again, it's at the EC website under Services,